When you visit Las Vegas, you will have the impression that there are countless different hotels and casinos competing for your attention. Consider this area, for example, on the southern edge of the Strip. There's the Excalibur Hotel, which appears as a medieval castle.
Okay.
Then there is the Luxor, with an ancient Egyptian theme, and the Pyramid main building. And there's the Mandalay Bay Resort, which focuses on opulence with its gold-colored glass facade.
I assume they're all owned by the same company?
But anyone who chooses the Luxor Hotel and is roaming through the casino and the various shops might all of a sudden find themselves inside one of the other two casinos. That is because all three casinos are connected by indoor walkways.
Yeah.
You can stroll back and forth between the hotels without setting a foot outside.
Many times.
A similar walkway can be found between the Horseshoe Hotel, formerly known as the Baileys, and the Paris Hotel, both located roughly in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip. But why do these hotels make it so easy to stroll to their competitors? Wouldn't they do everything to keep you just within their premises?
Sure.
As you probably figured out at this point, both the Horseshoe and the Paris belong to the same parent company, Caesars Entertainment.
Aha!
And the three other hotels, Luxor, Mandalay Bay, and Excalibur, also all belong together and are operated by MGM Resorts International. In fact, the probability that...
Can't we just go back to the hotels and casinos in Vegas being controlled by the mob? Why do we have to give it to two megacorps, all right? We should have a bunch of individual mobsters that own certain casinos and can literally break my legs if I ever have a winning streak.
That your hotel belongs to one of the two companies is fairly high, since more than half of the casinos on the world-famous Strip are now operated by one of these two companies.
Jeez.
Now, this was not always the case, though, as the current situation is the result of a fascinating development, decades of mergers and acquisitions, and to this day, the battle for Las Vegas is still ongoing.
Cool effect. This is really cool. However they made this model.
Let's look back at the year 1989. The year where the Mirage Hotel opened in Las Vegas.
Fantasy becomes reality when the Mirage appears on the Las Vegas Strip.
Old style ads.
At this point in time, tourism growth seemed to have slowed down.
Damn.
For example, it had been a full
Vegas has
16
changed,
years
bro.
since the last new casino hotel opened on the Strip. But the Mirage became an instant success. Also, due to its popular artificial volcano attraction and the hotel's magic show by Siegfried and Roy. It kickstarted an era of construction boom and acquisitions.
Do Zoomers know who Siegfried and Roy are? Because I feel like that was kind of old, even for me. They do? Two, like, well, they weren't gay, but they had like this, energy. And they loved tigers, and then one of them got bit. Did he die? Did he die from a tiger attack, or was just bit? He just got bit. One died during COVID, but not from a tiger. Anyway, they were very famous. Maybe they'll show them.
In 1990, Circus Enterprises opened the aforementioned Excalibur Hotel with a family-friendly medieval theme.
Immediately, thousands of locals and tourists poured inside. The Excalibur is aiming their business towards families. While mom and dad gamble upstairs, their kids go downstairs to the arcade.
In 1992, Promus Companies, which already owned the Holiday Inn Hotel, renamed that hotel to Harris.
Train them young? Yeah.
In 1993, the city gained an additional 3 casinos.
Dude, it would be funny if the arcade in the basement was just like money free, but still gambling. Like instead of skee ball and shit, it's like slots. Just so you can get the kids ready to do exactly what mom and dad are doing upstairs.
MGM Grand opened And MGM Grand acquired Mirage Resorts,
Okay,
renaming
big step
itself
up.
to MGM Mirage.
Now
The
there's
competition
kind of
for
two.
supremacy in Las Vegas was in full swing. In 2003, Park Place changed its name to Caesars Entertainment, a more well-known brand.
Okay, well now I actually am seeing that around 2001, one company owned them. So technically they could say Terry Benedict owned MGM Mirage, and I guess it would work. It does track.
Due to the popularity of the Caesars Palace Hotel. With 4 companies competing for supremacy, 2005 would become the year of mega transactions in Las Vegas.
Right before the fucking recession.
MGM Mirage took over Mandalay Resorts and thus bundles all
Jesus.
the properties in one single company. It became the largest gaming company in the world.
I did not know all of these were owned by the same company, to be
However,
honest with you.
only for a brief moment in time. Just 2 months later, driven by the knowledge of this merger, Harris Entertainment and Caesars also reconsidered their position and agreed on a deal that allows Harris to take over Caesars
Wait,
Entertainment.
Harris had one.
Much of the strip was now controlled by these 2 companies. In the same year, Harris also bought the Imperial Palace, a casino that is now known as the Link.
Yes.
They also purchased the Barbary Coast Hotel, now known as the Cromwell. In 2009, MGM Mirage sold the Treasure Island Hotel to businessmen.
Is the Cromwell like a British themed hotel? Like we have the Paris one and the Roman one and the. Is that what the Cromwell is? Because I would. Is that like beans on toast delivered to your fucking room and. You crom good, but I crom well. All right, that's enough of that.
Phil Ruffin,
That's enough of that.
and opened a giant new complex, the City Center, consisting of a shopping center, residential towers, and various hotels. Harris Entertainment expanded further by purchasing the Planet Hollywood Hotel, and both companies again changed their names. Harris Entertainment reverted back to Caesars Entertainment, and
It is
MGM
cooler.
Mirage became MGM Resorts International.
Okay.
2 giants had grown, exercising enormous control over the gambling capital. Today, all these casinos on the south end of the strip are run by
So this is pretty whack, right? I mean, it's another sign of increasing concentration in our society that leads to monopolies and oligopolies. Because imagine, for example, if you, I don't know, wanted to play at a casino that had good normal odds on roulette. Well, if they're all controlled by the same fucking thing, they're all going to add that third zero, or you know, whatever. Like all this shit will, or if you're an employee, you know, maybe you're a dealer in Vegas, and one place has bad working conditions. Well, you can't go anywhere else, bro. You can't leave. And if you get blackballed by one, you're basically unable to work. You have like fucking one other option in the whole town.
MGM. And the middle of the strip is firmly in the hands of Caesars Entertainment. Only the northern part is characterized by other operators. In total, of the 27 famous casinos here, 17 are operated by MGM or Caesars. Both companies have built customer reward programs that work across all their resorts, so whenever you spend money in one of the casinos belonging to the respective group, you receive points, and depending on the number of points, you are classified in a rewards tier, which is associated with various benefits. A system designed to retain customers and prevent them from going to their competitor.
Right.
But the map as we see it here only tells part of the story. Because if you look at the ownership of prominent resorts,
Has anyone ever gotten comped in gambling? I hear about it all the time, but I can't think I've ever done it. Where like you're winning big, so they give you a free room or some shit, try and get you to. The idea is like if you are winning big at gambling, they will try to keep you there. So they'll give you a free room or a free dinner or like something to Um, and the idea is that you go and gamble more than lose it all. I don't think I've gotten comped. I can't think of an example where I've done it. I got comped a lot because I gambled a lot. It's about Didn't Lud get comped? Yeah, Lud got comped not for winning though. Lud got comped because he knew a guy who was connected, and the message goes to the chain that Lud is going to spend a lot of money, and that's why he got a room. He ended up not spending that much money, and then it was a problem. But I don't think he's gotten comped for winning. I could be wrong.
Resorts, you will often find that a completely different company name appears. Vici Properties. Vici, as in Veni Vidi Vici, a reference to Caesar. Vici Properties is listed as the owner of the MGM Grand, which is operated by MGM, the direct competitor of Caesars. So what is Vici Properties?
Okay.
While in 2010, MGM and Caesars appeared like strapped giants, behind the scenes, Caesars was crumbling. Amidst all these acquisitions, Caesars...
My first question was like, aren't some of these casinos losing money? Like, does every single one of these in Vegas make money? It can't be true. So my assumption is that, like, you can't just pay whatever to keep acquiring and acquiring and acquiring. Eventually, it's going to there'll be some bleed.
Caesars Entertainment had undergone a complex transformation itself, as the investment companies Apollo Global Management and Texas Pacific Group jointly took over Caesars Entertainment and privatized the publicly traded company with a leveraged buyout. This means that a large part of the takeover amount is financed by debt, with the assets of Caesars Entertainment acting as security.
You did a huge debt-based buyout in 2006. I hope that doesn't come back to bite you.
Financed by debt, with the assets of Caesars Entertainment acting as security. The $30.7 billion deal was the fourth largest leverage buyout ever at the time. And what followed were controversial restructurings that made creditors feel betrayed, as well as large amounts of debt that had to be managed, all at a time amidst the global financial crisis of 2008 and weakened consumer behavior in the years that followed. The leveraged buyout turned into a disaster.
Breaking overnight, Caesars Entertainment filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection.
Hoping the court agrees to its plan to get out from under $18.4 billion of debt.
With Caesars Entertainment Operating Company, the largest subsidiary of Caesars, put into Chapter 11 bankruptcy, the company began a more than 2-year-long process of reorganization, and a compromise between creditors and owners was being negotiated.
Okay.
In the end, Caesars creditors acquired approximately 2/3 of Caesars Entertainment, while Apollo and Texas Pacific Group had to reduce their stake in Caesars Entertainment Corporation, initially to 16%, a little later, dropping out completely.
Is this AI? The way these guys are talking is very odd. Like an AI script.
Real trick, however, is that Caesars Entertainment was split into 2 completely separate companies, and this is how Vici Properties was born, a pure real estate company that would simply own the casinos. So while Vici Properties owns the land and buildings of the hotels and is less dependent on the fluctuations of the gambling business, Caesars Entertainment can focus entirely on operations and is lightened of assets. In addition, Vici Properties can benefit from a massive tax break due to the company being a real estate investment trust, also called REIT, which are exempt from federal income tax.
Great.
A similar step also had been taken
I
at
want my
MGM
huge casino
Resorts.
conglomerates to be exempt from
This
tax.
is how MGM Grove Properties
Love
was
that.
formed, that owns the hotels and leases them back to MGM. By selling the real estate, these operating companies can gain money which they can invest in future growth. Especially important considering the changing gambling market. Because while the focus of this video is on the battle over Vegas, these companies are operating nationwide, internationally, and increasingly digital, for example in the growing sports betting business.
Hell yeah!
The local gambling halls had long transformed into major global corporations, as visible by Caesars' revenue breakdown from 2015, at the time of Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which shows that Las Vegas business only accounted for 35% of the company's revenue.
That's huge.
Eldorado Resorts is buying Caesars Entertainment, creating a major casino giant.
The deal is worth $17.3
Eldorado
billion.
Resorts.
With Caesars
Where do they get $17
Entertainment
billion?
growing even more by merging with Eldorado Resorts, 2022 would see yet another mega transaction that will once again bundle ownership in Vegas, as Vici Properties acquires MGM Grove Properties, giving the
what?
company control over a large part of real estate
Wait.
in Las Vegas. The battle for Las
Isn't that
Vegas is
everything?
one on two fronts. While this map, which we looked at earlier, depicts the operating business of the casinos, ownership of the real estate is often in someone else's hands. These are all of the properties on the strip
So
that are
they're all owned by the same real estate company? That's like everything, bro. That's like fucking everything. Except for this little nook right here.
owned by Vici Properties at the time of making this video. Alongside some former Caesars and MGM properties, Vici
I remember when I was a kid, I played a game called Deus Ex Human Revolution. No, it wasn't even called that. It was called Invisible War. I'm sorry. It was the older one. It was this one with this fucking early 2000s cover. And in this game, it's not a very great game to be honest with you. Deus Ex, the first one's a great game. This is the sequel. It wasn't as good. In this game, the cities are pretty small that you explore, and you like do a little choose your own adventure type, exploration. But every city has two coffee shops. One is called Queequegs, and one of them is called like, I don't know. Queequegs and something. I forget. Anyway, the whole game, Pequods. Queequegs and Pequods. So you're going around and there's two coffee shops and they're always like advertising against each other. And by the end of the game, spoiler, you find out that these two coffee companies that have been like talking shit on each other the entire game, they're owned by the same person. Like the whole, and like when you'll walk through the city, average people will be like, I love Queequegs. I'm a more of a Pequods man. And you find out that it's the same. And for me as a child, that was very eye-opening. I was like, wait, holy fuck. But nowadays, like that's so common. It's like in real life, that's not a big, like they play it in the game like it's the most crazy fucking evil conspiracy. But like that's not even in real life, in the real world, that's very, very normal. Which is very funny nowadays. But in Invisible War, I thought it was like, holy shit, wait, what? All right, let me watch the end of this. We're at the last part.
She also owns the Venetian Hotel and the land under the T-Mobile Arena. With the real estate business of Vegas now opened up, conventional big players such as the Blackstone Group are investing into the city as well, with purchases such as the Bellagio, the Cosmopolitan, and the Area and Vdara hotels in City Center. the battle for Las Vegas has fundamentally changed, now split into real estate competition and into the casino operating business. And just like the city never sleeps, the battle is unlikely to ever end. For quite a while, I have been working on an extensive new project. And if you enjoyed this video, then I'm sure you would love this.
Sure, maybe. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Very interesting, but I didn't love the way it was presented. Didn't love it, but I learned something for sure.